And I'll say, how you supporting it? And they're like, out of our own pockets. And a lot of times I think that there are some things that I think are cultural differences. And also there's all the racial baggage that we carry. So when I approach artists and say, well, I'll write your grant. And they're like, I don't want to be judged by white people. And they see the funding community as them and then, you know, us. And so a lot of times when I'm on funding panels and things like that, I see some wonderful work, but the artist just hasn't had the access to the resources. So, you know, people are saying, like, I don't want to be judged, but I really think that funders are educating themselves, and we're helping them to understand what to be looking at, what to judge. And when I went to a concert one time, and an artist had done a concert in her backyard, and she got a grant. And so I went home that day and wrote a grant. Okay. But the thing is that I want to encourage all, you know, artists of color that, I mean, the times are changing. And you have people like ACTA and the Ethnic Dance Festival that are really understanding the work of culturally specific artists. And then African American artists. Because, you know, there's so much baggage. And I don't want to be judged by a bunch of white people that don't know anything about me or my work. And so sometimes, and that's not always true, we just make that assumption. But I really do think that people are understanding more about the work and how to categorize it. And at a time, there was once upon a time when we didn't see hip-hop as an ethnic dance form or culturally specific. So, you know, the times are changing, but you have to make sure that you're out there and that you're at the table, and that's my mantra all the time. We have to be at the table because decisions are being made about us, and people are saying things about us and who we are, and we have to define who we are.
And I just want to say, to comment about that is, like, yes, times are changing, and that kind of comes with the multiculturalism, post-multiculturalism. I still think we're in the middle. I know times are changing, but it hasn't changed 100%. So that's why we, as a company, have now went out and got our 501c3, because now we know that times are changing. And now's the time for us to say, let's go pull that old stuff we had in the garbage can and back and get some money for it, because it was better than what they're doing now. So we are clear that that's happening right now for us, and we're doing what we're doing now. But we were a part of that. I know specifically, I've sat down with people and they said to me, well, you can do this, but you can't do that. And that was, like I said, we've been a company for 10 years. So now that it is changing, I think that we're right in the middle. I don't think we're at the post part of it, but we are in the middle where things are changing and our voice has to be really loud, and we have people sitting at the table representing us. And I think as a culture, because for me, growing in San Francisco, it's never been about race for me, because I was raised in San Francisco. So, but I just think people are understanding more. And it's certain people who sit on certain boards who wouldn't understand, whatever color they were. I've been told by black people, I didn't really understand that. Because they would go see me at Cal Arts and go, now I want to get that piece. But when they'd come over here and see me in Oakland, at Alice Art, when I was there, they'd be like, that's okay. So it's not so much judging me as a color, but judging my work, period. So, thank you.
All right, great. Let's move on. Yeah. Thank you, Tila. All right, now, Danny, Kalanduyan.
Okay, I guess I will briefly talk about the type of music I teach and the dance, and then later we will see the sample of what we have been doing. My name in America is Danny, and my full name is Danungan. Most of my students cannot pronounce my first and last name because it's something very traditional name in the southern part of the Philippines where I came from. I came to this country in 1976 as an artist in residence at the University of Washington, and I taught this music. We call it kulintang. It is a row of 8 gongs, tuned gongs with other accompaniment of larger gongs and drum. And it is related to the music of Indonesia called gamelan. Maybe some of you are familiar with Indonesian music because it's popular in many universities in this country. Whereas kulintang I guess before I came to this country, it was not really known. And now lots of Filipino Americans use it for their performances, and especially college students, they always have this PCN, Filipino community, Filipino cultural night. And so this type of music is a very ancient music practice in the Philippines, even long before the Spaniards came in 1521. But before Islam came to the Philippines, this music was already there. However, when Spaniards ruled the Philippines for over 350 years, in Luzon and Visayas, in northern and central part of the Philippines, this tradition was wiped out. So nowadays it is only concentrated in southern part of the island. It's called Mindanao, the second largest island in the Philippines, because the Spaniards were not able to conquer that part of the Philippines. And therefore, this pre-colonial tradition of the Filipinos were able to survive, and people are still practicing in the Philippines. So lots of my Filipino friends in this country, when I first arrived in the Bay Area, after I finished my studies at University of Washington, and I started working with different performing groups, and their interest is more on the fusion of traditional and Western type of dancing, like ballet or other Western influenced dance. And they start telling me that I should try to modernize my music, because they said, you know, Danny, in America, if you present a very traditional music, Americans are not interested in watching something not related to them or something they don't understand. So my response is, I said, I will teach the way I learn the music, because I cannot modernize it, because on the first place, I don't even know how to modernize a traditional music I grew up with. So what I had been doing for the past 30 years was teaching in school and other communities, and private lessons. So now Kulintang became popular among Filipino American born in this country. So we also perform different traditional dances from the Philippines, specifically from three major groups of people who have no Western influence of their music and dances. And the group where I came from is called Maguindanon. It's a tribal group in Cotabato. Then the other group, which is neighboring province of my area, is called Maranao. And then the Tausug people, those are the three major groups of Filipinos who embraced Islam religion when the missionary known as Sharif Kabunsuan, who introduced Islam to the people of Mindanao. However, this music has no influence of Islam religion. In fact, it is not even allowed by Muslims in Mindanao to play this music during Ramadan or during religious activities, because it is not considered a Muslim music. So what I have been doing here is to introduce the traditional way of presenting the dances, because so many different groups, unfortunately, from the from Luzon or Visayas, who came to this country and present the music and dances from Mindanao, where I came from. So the sad part is that they just make up their own rhythms and movement on the dance. And to me, who came from that particular area, I can see that there are occasions, the traditional dances and